Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel to another video. So today I'm going to be doing something that I have not done before on the channel, is actually show my face. So one of my friends, after I posted a video on Facebook talking about, stereotyping and sexism, one of my friends told me that I have a good camera presence, that I'm actually funny, when I show my face. So I thought, let's try it on my YouTube as well. Let's see how it goes. And she said that it would be a good thing for my YouTube, as none of my videos, really show me. I just talk over the trailer footage. So I think it was a good suggestion, and I am following through on that. So today I'm going to be talking about Space Force. It's the new Netflix series written and created by Steve Carell and Greg Daniels. Now, if you don't know Greg Daniels, he is the guy who has written shows like The Simpsons, Parks and Recreation, The Office, and Saturday Night Live. Those four are literally a few of the most legendary sitcoms of all time. So having him write a series for Netflix with Steve Carell being the main character, I was really excited for this. Because, I'm a massive fan of The Office, and I just love Steve Carell and his acting. And Greg has this incredible form of writing that he does, and his comedy is so natural. It feels good to finally have a series that stars the old legends. It has people like Steve Carell, John Malkovich, you have Lisa Kudrow, you have these mature comedians and actors, and you have such a really good writer. You really expect this to be something really good. But at the end of the day, after having watched it, I think it could have been way better, and I'm really disappointed in this series for not meeting my expectations. Now, a lot of people on the internet are actually complaining about this because it's not similar to The Office, and it's not like The Office and stuff like that. The thing is, man, if you have the same writer and same actor working in a series, you really don't need it to be a photocopy or something. I would have been completely fine if it was nothing like The Office, and if it was something completely different and it was still incredible. But the thing is, it was kind of like The Office, and that's what I guess was something that didn't work for me as well. I really wanted something fresh and something new, but Greg and Steve, I think, delivered something that's like the discount Office set in 2020 with more social commentary about everything that's happening. I think going in, they had a clear vision of what they wanted to do, but they just applied a formula that was successful before, like The Office. And now it is a workplace comedy, and The Office is a workplace comedy. Now, it's not primarily a comedy series. It has more of those, friendship and adventure series type of tropes and stories like that. We have, individual episodes dedicated to each character to, flesh out them more. I think from a writing standpoint, it was well written. I mean, the characters were really well written, but I think the entire story, it needed something more. I think it lacked a lot of pacing. The episodes were like 36 to 40 minutes, I think, which is a bit long for a comedy series to have, because usually comedies are like 20 to 30 minutes episodes, and they're easier to create those because you have less things to write, which creates less pacing issues. You don't have to reuse jokes as often, and I would have been fine if it had like 12 episodes of 22 minutes instead of 10 episodes of like 30 to 40 minutes, which I think that time didn't work for me as well. And going back to the writing standpoint, the pacing of the series was really off, and the jokes were not good. Because I'm gonna give you an example without spoiling it. There's a joke in the first episode that gets reused like 5 or 6 times in the span of 10 minutes, which really took me out of the episode, because the joke was really funny the first time. Maybe do it twice, maybe do it thrice. Okay, I'll be fine with that if you do it like 3 times. But by the 5th or 6th time, it starts getting unfunny and repetitive, which really took me out of the episode and the entire story. So I think this is a thing that the series does quite often. It repeats jokes, and I think that really takes me out of the series. But that's the issues for me. And I think Steve Carell, he's an actor with amazing range. He has done some incredible stuff in recent years. But when he comes back to do comedy again, he just Greg gives him a new character. They just both circle it back to Michael Scott. That formula that they were successful in like a few years before. So Mark Naird feels like a version of Michael Scott, you know, a more refined and older version of Michael Scott. You know, if it were a series about, like, if it were a sequel to The Office, I would not have any problem believing that Mark Naird was actually Michael Scott himself, you know, an older, more mature version of him, because that's what it feels like. Now, I think Steve Carell is, you know, much older now, and he's a more mature version of himself as a comedian and actor, but I think he has way more range than this, and that was not properly utilized in this series, which really put me off. And and you know, Greg's writing, I think, could have been better in this, and the comedy was not top notch. I'm not gonna lie, and I think it underused Lisa Kudrow. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Friends. I kind of don't like it, but Lisa Kudrow she's a good actress. You know, you could have used her way more than you did. But she was like a recurring guest star. She felt like an elongated cameo instead of like an actual character in the series, which was not good. But there are some things that the series does really well. It is really good at representation. Now, I'm not gonna spoil much of the plot, but the cast is not all straight white male. There's a lot of diverse people in it, which I really like, which I think there needs to be more series with diverse cast instead of, you know, straight white people, because that's kind of boring once you know, watch it for a long time and you see that all series have like straight white people. So I think on the representation part, it was really good. There was an episode on, you know, Mark and his wife struggling with an open marriage, you know, Mark having to struggle with the idea of an open marriage, and I think the show really handled that episode really, really well. And it was a beautiful episode where, you know, you can see Mark come to terms with the concept of an open marriage as, you know, someone from the military and someone that is, you know, really rigid as a person, to become that much, you know, open to something, open to a new concept. I think that was a really beautiful episode. That was really well done. And what it does well as well is have a commentary on the military and the government of the United States, you know, with a lot of dumb people being in the high ranks. You know, don't arrest me, don't kill me. It's just a joke. So yeah, so I think it takes a fun, new, refreshing, you know, take on that. And I think much of the series is social commentary and, you know, Greg's view on the current world and politics and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get into that, but I think there's a lot of things that the series does well as well. So yeah, I think there's something that I'm going to applaud the series for, which I did not guess I would be applauding a comedy series for, is the CGI. The CGI in this series is actually quite good. It's really, really well done, and a lot of the scenes look really, really good. So I think kudos for that. I think they had like a massive budget for this thing, so it was not a big problem. So yeah. So overall, I think it was not a bad series. You can really watch it because it's quarantine and most of us are bored and have nothing to do. So, you know, maybe give it a watch. It's not as bad as something like, you know, Iron Fist or Luke Cage or some shit like that. So it's a good series. You can watch it, but overall I think it could have been better, and I am a little bit disappointed. So that's my review. I think Space Force gets a 6 out of 10. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, if you're looking at the screen, there should be a doodle face thing of my face appearing on the right of the screen, and another video for my channel will be popping on the left of the screen. Click my face to subscribe to the channel, and click the video on the left to watch it. And hope you had an absolutely fantastic time.